He wasn't your average criminal. He didn't leave bloody trails, no fingerprints, no DNA, just vanished victims. For years, cops had nothing. No leads, no suspects, only bodies that kept showing up. Same city, same pattern, same eerie silence, until one night, he made a mistake. A mistake so small, it should have gone unnoticed, but it didn't. And that's when it all came crashing down. Cincinnati, Ohio. Women start disappearing. All around the same bus stop, same time, same profile, brunette, petite, late 20s, gone without a trace. Cops call him the ghost, because that's what he left behind, nothing. Then the bodies start turning up. Not fresh, weeks old, buried shallow, hands bound, lips sewn shut, same sick signature, but no clue who he was. Not a nerd, not a coworker, not even a blip on any background check. Then it gets worse. 2017, a survivor, her name, Chloe Ramos. She escaped, barely breathing, but she saw his face. Cops were ecstatic. A break, finally. But when she IDs him, they're stunned, because she picks out Brian Ellison, local mechanic, dad of two, respected, quiet. And here's the twist. He has an airtight alibi, every single time. Phone pings, security footage, witnesses. So, was Chloe wrong? Or was he smarter than everyone thought? One cold night, a dog walker finds something in the woods. A duffel bag. Inside, rope, zip ties, surgical gloves, and a receipt. Just one. From a gas station, with a time stamp, and a blurry camera. But there he was, Brian, buying gas, wearing a hat he always wore to work. He'd forgotten to throw away one thing, proof. Detectives reopen everything, and the more they dig the worse it gets. False IDs, storage units, fake names, a cabin in the woods, wired with cameras and soundproof walls. But what really blew this case wide open wasn't a bag, wasn't the tape. It was someone closer to him than anyone guessed. His 13-year-old daughter, who saw something she was never supposed to see. She held the key to everything. And when she finally spoke, the entire truth came out. Brian Ellison, a father, a killer. Aged slipped once. A receipt tied him to a murder. But what finally exposed him wasn't the cops, wasn't the evidence. It was his own daughter. Her name? Lily Ellison, 13, smart, quiet. And she knew something was wrong. She told police she wasn't allowed in the basement. Ever. She said her dad would come home late, with muddy boots, and a strange smell on his clothes. And then one night, he forgot to lock the basement door. Leela snuck down. What she found changed everything. A wall of photos. Women, missing, dead. Articles, maps, strings connecting faces. And in the corner, a shelf with driver's licenses. IDs of women that were supposed to be lost forever. But it gets worse. Leela's voice trembles as she tells detectives, "There was a picture of me on the wall, circled in red ink." She doesn't understand what it meant, but we do. She wasn't just Brian's daughter. She was his next victim. Investigators believe Brian knew she'd seen something, because the next day, he suddenly planned a camping trip. Just the two of them. Leela panicked. She pretended to be sick, ran to her teacher, begged for help. That's when the school counselor called the police. By the time they arrived, Brian was gone. Truck, tools, gun, disappeared. An Amber Alert went out. Roadblocks, news broadcasts. One of the most intense manhunts in Ohio history. They tracked him to a rural highway. Abandoned truck. No sign of him. But then, a tip. A call from a farmer 10 miles out. "There's a man in my barn." Police move in, guns drawn. No one's sure what they'll find. But when they break down the door, they find more than just Brian. They find something. buried under the floorboards, and what it is. Rewrites everything they thought they knew. He was on the run, his daughter exposed him. Now, hiding in a barn. Police cornered Brian Ellison. But what they found beneath the floorboards shocked even the most hardened detectives. The barn was old, rotting wood. A single bulb hanging. But under the loose floorboards, something fresh. Police dig ... in silence, until a shovel hits metal. A locked trunk. They pry it open, and inside, photos, hundreds. Every victim, every woman. Bound, terrified. Some still alive in the shots, photographed like trophies, and beneath the photos, more ID cards, a diary, a video camera still running, still recording. Inside the diary, one line repeats over and over: control is the only truth. Brian didn't just kill, he documented every act. He studied it, perfected it, like a ritual. And then the final entry: she saw, she knows, if I can't fix this, I'll take her with me. He meant Leela, his own daughter, his final project. But he never got the chance, because police weren't alone in that barn. Brian had rigged it. They heard a click, a soft beep, trapwire, detective's dove. Boom. An explosion tore through the back of the barn. Brian tried to flee, burnt, bleeding. He didn't get far. They tackled him in the field. He screamed. They were ungrateful. All of them. But here's the twist: Brian wasn't acting alone, because inside that trunk was one more photograph, taken just weeks before. It wasn't of a victim, it was of another man, smiling, holding the same camera, standing beside one of the bodies. So who was he? Police thought Brian worked alone, but the man in the photo, he's never been identified, never arrested, never even found. And there's something else the camera recovered from the barn. It had recent footage from after Brian was already in hiding, meaning someone else is still out there. Brian Ellison caught. Confessed serial killer. But when police opened his hidden trunk, they found something terrifying. A man they couldn't identify. In a photo, smiling beside a dead body. And the worst part, the camera footage found in the barn was recorded after Brian was already in custody. Detectives scrubbed the footage. First few clips. Exactly what they feared. Women, terrified, begging. But then, one file stands out. Date stamped 2 days after Brian's arrest. The video opens. It's nighttime. Grainy. Someone walking through the woods, breathing heavily. Then a voice, not Brian's, younger, clear. He says, "Let's see if they miss this one." Camera pans down. A woman, tied up, crying, and then black. The FBI jumps in, confirms the footage is real. GPS metadata, different location, new kill zone, meaning this wasn't over. Brian had a partner, possibly a Prot G. But who? They analyzed the photo found in the barn. No facial matches, no records, just one strange detail. A tattoo barely visible on the man's hand. A chess piece. The Black Knight. Cops start combing through Brian's past. Friends, old coworkers, even online forums, and then a break. Brian used to post on a true crime message board. He was obsessed with killers, patterns, psychology. He debated theories, even offered insight on open cases. His most frequent back and forth, a user named Nightzero, always pushing him, praising his logic, correcting his mistakes. One post stands out: mistake number 4, leaving the body in daylight. That's how they caught the Colorado guy. You know better than that. IP traced, dead end, VPNs, spoofed locations, but then a single clue. One comment, made late at night. One day, they'll call us the perfect pair. So now police know. Brian wasn't working alone. He was part of a duo, and Nightzero, he's still out there, still online, still watching. And when the FBI set up a trap account pretending to be Brian, Nightzero responded, and what he said will chill you to the bone. Brian Ellison wasn't alone. He had a partner, ghost hiding in the wires. His name online, Nightzero. But after Brian's arrest, the FBI baited a trap account, and when Night Zero replied, his first words were, "You miss me, partner?" The FBI held their breath. They weren't sure he'd take the bait, but when Night Zero responded, it was instant. He called the fake Brian by their shared code, Dark Bishop reporting. Game paused. Not over. Then a photo. New. Time stamped yesterday. A woman, tied up, alive. Behind her a chalkboard. On it, written in red, "Make your next move. KZA." It wasn't just a message, it was a threat and a challenge. Night Zero starts messaging regularly, encrypted, layered in riddles. Each message ends the same way. "Your move, Bishop." He sends coordinates. A burned-down church in rural Indiana. FBI teams swarm it. Inside, a symbol scorched into the wood. A black knight carved into a pew. And a thumb drive. They plug it in. More footage. A woman blindfolded. Her name whispered, Jessica Vaughn. She went missing 3 days ago. And in the background, someone humming, "It's not Brian." Too light. Too calm. Too enjoying it. Night Zero was a planner. Every move, deliberate. Inside the footage, the FBI catches a reflection. A mirror in the corner, enhance, zoom. A face. Young, early 30s. Clean cut. Unknown. But they match the reflection to a blurry mugshot. 2016. Minor theft. Name, Zane Keller. Alias, unknown. No family. No address. But one link. He worked at the same auto shop as Brian, 10 years ago. Co-workers said they were close. Too close. Always talking late. Playing chess on breaks. Nobody thought much of it, until now. Now, they have a name, a face, and a ticking clock. Because Jessica Vaughn. Still missing. And in the last message, Night Zero warns. Checkmate happens in 3 days. They have 72 hours to stop him. Night Zero finally has a name. Zane Keller, the ghost behind the camera. He's given the FBI a deadline, 72 hours, to stop the next kill. And now the game is real. One wrong move. Jessica Vaughn dies. July 12th, FBI launches a full-scale manhunt. Zane Keller vanishes like smoke. No digital trail. No bank cards. Not even his face on cameras. But the clues are in the chessboard. He's mirroring every past kill. Same tools. Same setup. Same timing. They call in a behavioral analyst. She says, "He's obsessed with pattern. If we find the rhythm, we find the victim." Jessica was taken on a Monday. Brian always killed on Fridays. That gives them 3 days to break the loop. FBI goes back to Brian's journal. Buried in the notes, a line that keeps repeating. Bishop waits. Night strikes. But the queen is sacrificed. What does it mean? Analyst believes queen isn't a piece. It's a person. Someone Zane blames. Someone he's trying to punish through his victims. They run background on Jessica. Turns out she was a trauma counselor at a women's shelter. Zane's mother died in that same shelter years ago. Overdose. No one helped. Suddenly Jessica wasn't random, she was targeted. With hours left, a break. A stolen truck is found at a rest stop. Inside, a map, marked with red X's. The same spots where Brian used to dump bodies. But one X is circled, a decommissioned power plant outside Louisville. He's taunting them, inviting them. SWAT teams move. Guns up. No lights, every shadow could be him. Inside the plant, chains, blood, and one lockbox. Inside, Jessica's shoe. But no sign of her. Just one more tape. The tape plays. Jessica. Still alive. Still tied up. But now she's not alone. A second woman is with her, crying. Face bruised, unknown. And Zane's voice behind the camera says, "Level up. 2 queens. 1 clock." The deadline hasn't changed, but the stakes just doubled. One victim was already terrifying. Now, there are 2. Jessica Vaughn is still alive. But Zane Keller Night Zero has taken another woman. And the countdown to Friday hasn't changed. 2 lives, 1 deadline, and no second chance. The second woman, No ID. No record of her missing. No one's reported her. She's bruised, terrified, and wearing a shirt from a local rehab center. FBI scrambles. Checks every name in the last week. And then bingo. Amber Levis, 22. Checked in Tuesday. Disappeared Wednesday morning. Staff assumed she relapsed. She didn't. Zane took her. But why? Jessica had a connection. Amber doesn't. Until they find it. Amber mother. She used to work at the same shelter where Zane's mom died. Zane isn't random. He's sending a message. The FBI recovers more files from the USB drive. Each clip is labeled like a chess move. E4, C6, Queen takes Rook. One file is called Queen Sacrifice. They open it. Jessica is blindfolded. Zane's voice asks her one question. Do you believe broken men can be forgiven? She says yes. He laughs. Then forgive me. Static. Then Amber scream. It cuts. But not before he whispers one more line. The bishop has fallen. But the night rides on. What does it mean? The FBI believes Zane thinks Brian was weak. The bishop, in his twisted game. A pawn that failed. Now, Zane sees himself as the real player. He's escalating. Trying to outdo Brian. Outsmart the cops. Make this his final masterpiece. Then another break. A motel owner in southern Indiana calls in. One of her guests gave her the creeps. Paid cash. Used a fake name. But he left something behind. A flash drive. Unlabeled. They open it. Footage Zane. Talking to the camera. Staring right into the lens. He says, "You think you're chasing me? I've already chosen how this ends." Behind him, a wall of newspaper clippings. All of his victims. All of Brian's, and then, chillingly, a photo of one of the FBI agents, with a red X over their face. 2 victims. One killer obsessed with the game. And now he's made it personal. Zane Keller didn't just outwit the FBI, he was watching them. And now, he's hunting back. That flash drive, a declaration of war. Zane stares into the lens. You've been looking for a monster in the dark, but you never looked behind you. On the motel wall, a photo of FBI agent Mallory Quinn, lead profiler, red X over her face. He knows her past, her patterns, and he's been following her for weeks. Mallory refuses to back down. She studies the drive. Not the video, the file metadata. Coordinates. Buried deep. It leads them to a forest bunker 30 miles from the motel. FBI storms in. Inside. Chains. Blood. And a digital timer. 0 hour 45 minutes and 32 seconds. It's counting down. Less than an hour. On the wall. 2 monitors. One shows Jessica Vaughn live, struggling. The other, Amber Levis, gagged, crying. Different rooms. Same danger. Then Zane's voice over the speaker system. You get to save one. Pick your queen. It's the final play. Mallory has one shot. They trace the feeds. Jessica's signal pings from an abandoned school. Amber, from an old grain silo. 2 teams split. Sprinting through back roads. Sirens off. Guns up. Tick, tick, tick. Mallory leads the school raid. They break the door. Jessica's inside, weak, but breathing. Timer hits 0. Mallory screams into the radio. Amber, static. Team 2 reaches the silo. Too late. Amber body is found. Lifeless. Still bound. But next to her a note. Sacrifices must be made. Your move is over. And one final message. Zane was never there. The bunker, the timer. All pre-recorded. Pre-timed. A distraction. He was gone. Before they even arrived. A week later, Mallory gets a letter. No return address. Inside, a single chess piece. The Black King. And a handwritten line. Game's not over. Just your turn. Zane Keller was never caught. Jessica Vaughn survived, but lives in hiding. Amber family got no justice. And the FBI? They still have no clue where Zane is. One killer was caught. But the mastermind, he's still out there. Watching, waiting, planning. Sometimes, monsters hide in plain sight. Sometimes, they hide online. And sometimes they win. Thank you for following this series. Share your theory in the comments. Subscribe, share, and like for future case deep dives. The story might be closed, but the questions are still wide open.